Why is that? Hello and welcome to Michael Pepper Tech. And I am back. Just had to figure out why it was showing my whole entire display instead of just a segment here. And I think it's still doing that, which is really strange. And I apologize for this, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. Why it's all over the place. But anyways, let's talk about what Apple announced today. First off, I want to kind of cover the iMacs and my thoughts on those. So you have all the new colors here, except for they are only available in that's not what I wanted. Particular models here. So 4 colors are what's available in the base $1,299 model for the 7-core GPU, 8-core CPU model, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. Only comes with 2 Thunderbolt slash USB 4 ports. You have to step up to $14.99 if you want to get all 7 colors. And if you want the 2 Thunderbolt ports and 2 USB 3.0 ports and the Gigabit Ethernet included, as well as the Magic Keyboard with Touch ID. And for $200 more than that, you can double your storage, and you get and everything else is the same: Gigabit Ethernet, Magic Keyboard with Touch ID, the same color choices, same 2 USB 3 ports, same Gigabit, all that's the same. So it seems like they're kind of trying to upsell you, and it's interesting to see that it can support 4 ports, and my theory on that is that they will allow us to, hopefully with some of the MacBooks, they will add 4 ports. Since this is using the M1 chip, I don't understand why this can have that many ports and the MacBooks don't, so hopefully that shows something to come. Let's switch over here and talk about the new iPads and kind of my thoughts on that. So if we scroll up here, let me get rid of this. Let's talk about pricing. So the 11-inch, they didn't really change anything other than adding the new M1 processor, and you can, it's available in spray stain silver, all the way up to 2 terabytes of storage, Wi-Fi and cellular, and that's $2,099. For the 12-inch model, you add $300 to that, so that's $2,399 decked out. But keep in mind, you have to add another $300 for the Magic Keyboard. Well, $300 for the 11-inch one, $349, $350 for the 12.9-inch one, and $130 for the Apple Pencil. So all spec'd out, the 12.9-inch comes to just shy of $2,900 if you get the cellular 2 terabyte model with the Magic Keyboard and Apple Pencil. They did announce a new all-white Magic Keyboard and looks like an all-white iPad, which is interesting because I don't see that underneath. Oh, that must be the silver option. But keep in mind, for that same amount, you can get the base model M1 MacBook Air and the 256 gig iPhone 12 Pro Max and the base model MacBook Air. Or you could also get the 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage MacBook Pro and a 512 gig model iPhone 12 Pro Max. Or you could get a decked out Mac Mini and pick up yourself a nice ultra wide monitor and the Apple keyboard and trackpad. So it seems like to me, depending on what you're looking at. Now they did add Thunderbolt support, and where I see this coming in handy is for somebody that travels a lot. And you want the color accuracy for editing your photos and videos on the go, and you need all that storage and RAM for processing, 4K, 6K, 8K video. And then you get home and you want to be able to plug it into a nice big display. Maybe the same display that you connect up to a Mac or connect up to your MacBook. I could see that. They also announced a new color in the iPhone. Let's go to the iPhone 12 here. Let's take a look at what was the new color. And pre-order in purple starting Friday. So that's in the iPhone 12 Pro or 12 and 12 mini. Interesting. So if you want the Pro, is still only available in the normal colors as far as I see. Yep. They also announced under, let's see, what's it under? Is it under iPhone? Yeah, under iPhone, AirTags, which are available at $29 a piece or 4 for $100. I do believe. And to replace the battery is $15, and you have to send it into Apple. Now, the batteries should last a year. They'll use each other's location to track. And they did announce some crazy deals, some crazy partnership with Hermes, which I don't know why you'd pay like $300, $400, $500 for one of these with a fancy leather strap around it. I'm sure there'll be third-party companies that do accessories as well, and I'm sure we'll see some interesting uses of these. I'll be curious to see what people are putting them on their keys. You could talk about putting them on their pets and things like that. And this gets into an interesting discussion involving security because apparently, so you can put your information on these and somebody can hold their iPhone up to it and it will give them your contact information so they can say, hey, I found your keys, or I found your wallet, or I found this or that. And it'll be interesting to see like companies if they'll put these into wallets and things of that nature, and what else we'll see. I would love to see Apple build this into the MagSafe wallet and build this into other accessories and to see companies putting these in headphones and things like that. We're already kind of seeing that. We've seen some things with Bose and some other companies doing that. And that's kind of it that they really talked about today, other than the ability to subscribe to um, other than the ability to subscribe to the for the podcasts. And also, one of the things that they discussed that I kind of almost missed talking about here, if we go back to the Mac and we look at the Mac minis, they didn't really talk about this, but there is now an option. I mean, you can go up to those options were always there, but there's now an option for $100 to add 10 gig Ethernet, which I think is something that a lot of people have been waiting for. I know I've seen some people like Linus Tech Tips talking about that, and I know that I've seen um, a discussion on I know that I've seen discussion from him wanting to get a um, a Mac Mini and use it as a server. Oh yes, also the new Apple TV 4K with the A12 Bionic processor and the new Apple remote. See, I don't mind this. I don't mind this remote at all. Some people think it's too slippery. For me, I can tell the difference between the texture between the two, and I don't mind it. It'll be interesting. I might get just the remote, or I'm thinking maybe just buy one of the new Apple TVs since I have a 4K TV now and I'm using the third gen Apple TV. Might as well get the Apple TV and the remote. I'm still trying to figure out what the heck is going on with my display here. Why? There we go. I'm sorry about that, everybody. Thanks for keeping with me and stuff like that. So that's kind of what went on, and let's talk about what I think. I would like to see them bring just a regular monitor rather than having the iMac as the only option to get their display, the Pro XDR. I would love to see the display as an option to be able to connect my MacBook Air up to it or a Mac Mini. But I think the reason that's why we don't see them do that because somebody might just buy a Mac Mini, and if you could get their monitor for $400 or $500, you might see people doing that or hooking up like their Windows laptop. And at least I would like to see them make it as an option. So if you buy an iMac, you can also use it as a display. So if I want a desktop, but I also want to be able to come home and let's say I'm working on something on a MacBook and I don't want to have to, I don't have everything sync up necessarily. Maybe I have my iMac as my personal computer, but I have a MacBook for work and I want to be able to use that display to be able to hook it up, especially since they both have USB-C Thunderbolt 4.0 ports. Just be able to connect and have that option. It would be really nice to see. I suspect since they are putting the M1 chip in the new iPad, and the M1 chip is in the new iMacs, I don't know why you couldn't use Sidecar in an iMac. That would be kind of cool. So, in AirPlay, be able to cast from your phone to your Mac natively would be really cool. Especially if it's in the software, so you could cast from your laptop to your iMac or from your phone to your iMac and then screen capture that wirelessly really easily would be awesome to see. And I think that's the direction that they're headed, maybe. Um, yes, the webcam is now 1080p on the iMac, which is really weird to me. Um, why they didn't make that as an option. If they were able to make the iMac as thin as it is, 10.5 millimeters, why they didn't put that in the MacBook just seems dumb. I don't know. Kind of a bit dumbfounded, to be honest. I think it's a little bit strange, and I don't get why they did that if it's just a matter of. And everything else they put in there, it's a shame that they took away the SD card reader and they didn't even put a micro SD card in there. So I guess you could say the benefit is now that the MacBooks and the iPad Pros and even the iPad Air and the iMacs all use USB-C or Thunderbolt, you can just have one dongle like this and it works for everything, and you know that will support high speed charging. Oh, the other thing is the new cables with the Ethernet port on the power plug is intriguing to me. I don't know what you all think about that. Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know in the chat. Let me know what you all think about that. I find it a bit odd. Oh yeah, they released iOS 14.5 is out, and so I suspect that also means that the final betas for hopefully for macOS will be out. I don't know why they wouldn't be. I'm assuming that will be what will run natively on the iMacs. And um so let me know if you guys are thinking about getting any of the new Apple products, the AirTags, Apple TV, the new iMac, any of the, or if seeing the new iMacs inspired you to go with maybe a MacBook Air or a MacBook Pro or a Mac Mini instead. Um, I'm contemplating maybe getting the base iMac just because my base MacBook Air has been powerful enough, and since it supports Thunderbolt and has two ports on it, I could easily plug in a drive to there. And for the difference in price, you can get a pretty decent high-speed Thunderbolt, 2 terabyte drive to be able to plug into the iMac and into the Mac Mini. Um, and I have a 27-inch 1440p LG Ergo monitor that I use. That's what I have. My iPhone is mounted on the top of it right now, and my MacBook Air is plugged into through USB-C. And so I could plug that in as a second monitor with the iMac and still use my MacBook Air for portability for editing. And so I contemplated doing that. Just because for the price difference between the Mac Mini and getting that display and just having it declutter my desk would be really, really nice, and not having to plug in anything to my monitor and it's just there. So keep up to date, keep an eye on my channel. You'll see what I do. Also, you'll see probably people selling their iPads because, they gotta have the newest and they think it's the greatest, even though it's, they think it deserves that when, eh, they're celebrating and they're all happy and, they're applauding Apple when, to me, I felt like all this was really an upsell, and I felt like that this was a method that companies use, and I feel like they were trying to push sellers to buy the higher models instead of buying the low end model. So, anyways, these are kind of my thoughts and opinions on the announcement and the new products and kind of the thought direction maybe that I'm headed. If you are here with the replay crew, please, put hashtag replay crew in the comments down below. Don't forget to thumbs up. And as always, if you aren't subscribed, please do so. I promise normally I'm on a better thought track than this. There's been a lot going on today between the Apple announcement and other news and a lot of chaos. And so I just thought I would come out and talk about tech and talk about what's been going on, my thoughts on maybe the direction that Apple's headed. I see this now that they are putting the M1 chip in the new iPads along with up to 16 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes of storage. That essentially they're using the same chip, RAM, and storage options across the board. That I see this as a closer unity between iOS, iPadOS, and macOS, and hopefully that means extended display being brought to the iPad. If that's the case, I would totally grab an 11-inch iPad to save the money. I don't need the extreme bright display and spend and connect up to a monitor and be able to have that option, or even like AirPlay and extend it, or other protocol to be able to cast and do an extended display option would be great. To see them come out with a more affordable version of a display other than the Pro XDR would be awesome. And again, let me know what you think down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all later.